rolling back the clock a little bit to the time before Group 2 left, as Connor wishes to have a brief interaction with the sister, one of the sister, and two of the sisters actually.
Two of the sisters. Technically,
No,
I've already told the third sister about it.
It's true. No Alstros allowed.
Bye, okay, Alstro.
No black sheep of the family.
Get out of here. And
I mean, you can be the black sheep in that regard, but I'm the black sheep magically, so it's fine. Don't worry about
true.
it.
I mean, you could always fix that. You just I'm just kidding.
No!
I can fix it for you.
No!
Grab your hands. All right, so at an appropriate juncture, maybe a day or two before before Group 2 leaves, you would be able to grab the two with Delphine and Piper. You'd be able to pull the two of them together. I'm guessing in some building or tent in the camp or something, a discrete location of your choice.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, so probably shortly after or like a day or two after the flag presentation or so, just for like kind of a frame of reference. And yeah, so Delphine Connor pulls you aside and probably rather suspiciously is just like, can I have you follow me or something like that, right?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, it's up to you.
Let's do it as strangely as possible to raise more questions.
This is really weird. What's going on?
I mean, unless you sent them a carbuncle too.
Oh, yes.
Wait, you're sending carbuncles now? Hello?
Carbuncles. I absolutely send carbuncles.
So you're sending carbuncles? What, messenger carbuncles? Are we talking about like, are these like carrier carbuncles equivalent to carrier pigeons or something?
I imagine they talk in a very squeaky voice.
I don't see why not.
Mm.
Yeah, they look like the carbuncles in Arcanon, except they're all purpley.
Well, I do like purple. I wonder why.
And so after following the instruction of the purple carbuncle and you and Piper run into each other outside of this building that Connor has pulled you guys to.
Oh, hi, Piper. Did you also happen to get a strange message from a carbuncle?
I did. That's I suppose that's one way to get your attention, right?
I mean, yeah. I wonder what was so important that it was carbuncles and not. I don't know what I'm saying.
and Piper just shrugs and turns towards the building and leads the way in, following the violet carbuncles in. And inside they see Connor, and I assume that the carbuncles probably sound slightly like you or something. Like, I'm assuming you like.
I don't know. I never really put much thought to it, honestly.
That's fair. Well, regardless, they as Piper comes in, she turns to you and says, "So, what was that all about, Connor?"
Oh, mostly to see if I can. Basically, I'm just testing some things out, but I do still want to talk to both of you.
Okay.
There's no real good way to ease into this one. Either of these two things, actually. So, we're just gonna dive straight into the first one. And he's gonna pull out Gleipnir and just kind of. So, as I'm sure you've both at least heard by now from Dristan died, correct? Like, and was actually our ancestor.
Yes, that is correct.
And did we actually hear this?
Would you have read any of the transcript that Anna had that Alistair had prepared based on the information Avalon?
I mean, I personally haven't gotten to read them. because
It
it's
isn't
full, but-
posted. It's mostly just
okay.
like.
All
But,
right.
but I imagine Delphine probably.
Yeah,
did
Delphine would have
because-
been like grabby hands.
Yeah,
like
so
let me
you
read
would
this
have.
shit.
You would have heard that. Then.
Okay, well, yes.
So here's where that gets interesting. Our many times great grandfather wasn't taken by his brother Arland is contained in here, which seems to be most of his personality too.
Blink, 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 blink. Lots of blinking.
What? How does that work?
I couldn't even begin to explain exactly how it works, but know that our many times ancestor is mostly this book now.
So, you're saying that our great, questionable on how many times great grandpa is that book?
Uh-huh.
More blinking.
I ain't gonna lie and say I know what to do with that information. Piper kind of just shrugs.
That's completely fair. Of like more useful information to you, I am able to communicate with them.
You're just trying to pull a joke on us, aren't you, Connor, right?
How many times have I ever actually lied to you about anything like this?
You haven't, but I don't know how to. I don't know what to do with this. So I was hoping you were just playing a trick.
Absolutely not. This is not the time for that.
How can you do that?
When I write in the book, you can write back, essentially.
That's kind of creepy.
I think it's kind of wicked, but I mean, how'd you find that out?
So I would, I can't think of any better way to keep any kind of journal than within a book that nobody else can read. So I would write down entries into it. And occasionally, whenever I would look back on some entries, they would be altered. And from there, it was just guesswork. But it was like someone was writing back to me based on my own thoughts.
Huh. I won't lie and say I was able to read everything or really understand everything that that Alistair wrote in that thing she made, but huh, certainly something. Does
So,
does he think anything about any of this stuff that's happening?
He has lots of opinions.
like, what?
He also has a horrible sense of humor.
Oh?
I've
He-
quite frankly never talked to anything more sassy in my entire life.
He's sassy? Whoa! What kind of sassy things? I want to know.
Connor just kind of smiles and will relay a couple of the things that have happened, like in the entries, like in the post we have on the forums.
There's an abundance.
So, is it only you? If you write, then he writes back, or is it anyone?
Nobody else can open the book or read it right now.
Oh,
Something I'm kind of working on, though.
well, then I definitely can't read it.
I mean, there used to be another book that only you could open or read.
What?
Did I know about this book? I don't remember.
Avalon?
Oh yeah. Herp.
Now it's
Derp. I'm
sister.
having a senior moment right
It's
now.
all good. But that was the lesser of the two things. The more practical and something you both should know. Actually, though, in Avalon there was no account of them. In our religion, there's no account of them. But Ashling created servants. And they're tied to our bloodline and to Arcanon, the island, not so much the city.
Lots of blinking again.
The
Wait, what?
important reason. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, what do you mean? But you're fine.
The important reason for the two of you to know is that because you're both of Haven Tree blood, you can call them.
But is it just blood, or do you have to be magic? Because if you have to be magic, then I can't do that.
Magic isn't required. It's
You
a connection
sure?
through blood.
Oh. Okay. But who? You said they were servants, but who are they, and why would we need to call them, and what do we even do?
The same way you would call for any person, really. Just I don't know if it has to be vocal. I've never actually tried a just mental connection. But they are. Do you remember Laird?
Yeah, Mr. Laird. Whatever happened to him?
He's one of them.
What? But how? What?
Did Laird ever tell you about his past?
Not that I can remember.
He was not a good person for a very long time. And eventually a village caught up to him and they put an end to him.
The Laird we knew?
Not the Laird we knew, the Laird that was before. The Laird we knew was born when that Laird died.
So they used his body?
So it seems.
I feel like I'm reading a made-up book right now.
It does seem like that, doesn't it?
Yes, very much so. So we didn't know the real Laird. We knew a fake Laird that was an Archon Laird.
It not quite a fake. He was built off of Laird, who Laird was before.
But if he was a bad person, then why was he so nice? What? None of this makes any sense anymore, Connor.
How have these people been able to just live like this?
They keep taking different forms, pretending to be different people, or just they also possess the ability to just completely hide themselves away from everyone. Only very, very powerful mages could sense their presence, and even then, only with effort.
Do we know any of them? Other than Laird?
Magister Kendra from before was another one, or is another one, I should say.
Delphine would have known that she went missing?
Yes,
question
you
mark?
did know that.
Yeah, you would have also known that she was like Connor's tutor too.
Yeah.
Wait, the Magister who went missing when we went to Zodia?
Yeah, that's connected. It's hard for them to physically manifest without a Haven tree in Arcanon.
So wait, but then how was Laird able to go? What? I'm so
Did they
confused.
actually explain that to me, Eric?
It had to do with the lantern, and it was kind of a special case. They pretty much almost because before, kind of as a brief explanation, before you guys returned to Arcanon, and he was kind of a midpoint, not fully one of them. He was not really connected to the Archons directly, but he was kind of serving as a vessel for them to kind of learn and experience things and to gain some energy and essence back while also making sure that you were safe.
Yeah, I'll kind of just relay that.
Yeah. It's not the first time they've done something like that, but yeah, it was an example of that.
I feel like this is a bedtime story to tell children when they're acting up that the Archons are watching over you and they're gonna get you.
I mean, we do come from a bloodline of people that have twins born every generation, and we live on a floating island or something.
The Archons are out to get you. I don't know what's going on, Connor.
Also, talking to Kendra, she's fairly certain that one of our first ancestors was a dragon.
What?
That's where the purple hair comes from.
A dragon? Well, I guess Cecil and Neely saying that Delphi kind of sounded like a Manakete name makes even more sense now. No, it doesn't. This is really confusing.
When Ashley was changing loggers and Togwell into humans, she changed dragons too.
And you would have read in Alstro's dissertation, if you will, you would have read a similar notion, and also a notion that many of the most powerful mage families likely had ties or may have been manic past as well.
I wasn't expecting that to actually be a thing. I know I read it, but I wasn't expecting that to be a thing.
And
Yeah.
it's
Sorry, go
also possible, and obviously there's no actual way to prove this as fact. It's entirely possible given the natural powerful prowess of the Haven trees. It's entirely possible that the quote unquote Dragon Queen from the Ash Codex may actually have been a direct ancestor of you.
Wow, then I'm
as a
failing our
hypothesis.
bloodline even more.
Oh yeah? How so?
No, magic. Failing the
I mean,
bloodline. Anyway.
She didn't have magic
Sure.
really.
Shh. No, just in a powerful sense. Anyway.
So what do we do with this information?
Well, Delphine, you're going to go talk to the church, right?
Apparently. I don't know if they'll listen to me.
Connor just kind of smiles really wide. Well, wouldn't a giant fiery being probably help push your case that you might be on Ashley's side?
Are you implying what I think you're implying?
That you call an Archon to help prove your case.
But what if they don't listen to me? What if the Archons are just like, no?
They serve haven trees. You're a haven tree.
I mean, Delphine, you could always try it now, just to make sure.
So what? I just say, hey, Lyra, come here! And he'll just come in here?
Did it actually work?
I imagine there's like a moment where you guys like look around and wait for a second.
See? Nothing!
Were you actually trying though?
How am I supposed to try? I don't know! Is there some specific set of words I'm supposed to say?
Did you actually want it to happen?
I don't know! This is scary! This is weird!
Well, you don't have to be scared, Delphine. We're all here, and if what Connor says is true, these Archon fellas won't hurt anyone. Not anyone we don't want them to.
I don't want them to hurt anybody. Huh.
Well, if you didn't want them to hurt anyone, I don't think they will, right? They listen to us, right?
That I've seen so far.
Delphine, like, she's literally not looking at either. Her eyes are just going back and forth, and it almost looks like she's trying to solve a complex equation in her head. That is what she looks like right now.
Delphine,
Yeah.
breathe.
There. I breathed.
Okay, just a little bit.
Yes, that is her.
Don't think too hard about it.
But I'm good at thinking too much about things.
That's a trait that we tend to all have that we need to work on.
It's kind of hard when you spend a lot of time alone and have a lot of time to think.
Yeah, well, you're not alone now, are you?
That kind of that stops the face, and she looks up.
I know. It all the new information though, just it's hard not to feel like I don't know, just dreaming this all up, and I'm gonna wake up and I'm still gonna be in the tower.
Somehow I don't think you'd have such horrifying dreams.
I don't know, some of the books that I had access to, you might be surprised. That and, you know, it's an interesting story, either way. I mean, if I was really gonna believe this, that this could happen, then can only one be here at a time? Or can multiple be here?
I wouldn't try something more than one. They only have so much energy.
Okay.
Yeah, the farther you are from it, the harder it is to manifest.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I haven't seen Magister before we left, since before all of us left. If I was gonna believe that, then if she showed up here right now, that would make it true. So, I guess if you Archons are listening,
And she kind of takes a deep breath and looks around.
I can't believe I'm actually going to try this. But okay, Magister Kendra? Are you anywhere around here? Can you come see us? Is that okay?
And a few moments pass, and there's another beat of silence. And in the room that you guys are in, one of the windows that is kind of shut and sealed, kind of swings open for a moment, but nothing really comes in. it just kind of swings open. And as you guys turn kind of instinctually to look at it, you hear a voice from behind you in a corner that you're not looking. And you hear, and the voice is calm and smooth, and though you've never actually met Magister Kendra or really spoken to her before, Delphine, Connor, you're obviously much more familiar than she is, but her voice is different from what normally you hear her as. It's more like what you hear, or it's more like the voice that you've heard when they are not taking a specific form. Smooth, almost crackly, like a hearth that's halfway burned down. And as you guys turn back, standing in the corner, roughly the height of a person, you see a humanoid figure whose body is wreathed in flame. As she kind of steps out from the side of the room.
Whoa.
And her kind of featureless face, where eyes and mouths should be, kind of in this churning roiling figure, almost kind of indeterminate features, slowly begin to shift and shade, almost like a candle being exposed to the wind as she takes a couple of steps forward, the flames dying and forming and swooshing into actual shapes, as you watch as the flames almost gutter out and die as this figure takes the form of the woman who you know to be the Magister. The indeterminate features becoming more defined within the seconds that it takes to appear, and finally, with one last kind of pulse of energy, the blonde-haired woman that is the former Magister appears before you. She almost seems to have the air of someone who's been working a long shift, almost an air of fatigue kind of about her as she manifests, not overtly, not like panting or sweating or anything, but just an underlying kind of fatigue as she takes a step forward, and she places one hand on her chest, and she bows slightly. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Delphine.
I only ever saw you in passing, but you're here now, and so it's true.
She nods. It
And
is.
I did that.
She nods. It's not the first time. Though this is your first time meeting us, it is not our first time meeting you, Delphine.
Wait, what do you mean?
A hint of a smirk kind of appears across her face. You need not think about it too much, Delphine. But you were in your tower for a long time.
Oh,
While it may have seemed like you were alone, we were there.
in the tower?
It was of Arcnon.
So you just happen to be in there sometimes? But I don't remember seeing you?
You did not. Not truly, after all. It would have been difficult if you had. But we were watching, ensuring that you were safe, ensuring that your needs were taken care of, as is our duty, as has always been our duty. Though it was not my responsibility specifically to do so, the Archon who was.
Wait, the Archon who was? With Archon? Who?
We do not have names, not in the conventional sense. Each of us is separate yet the same, a unique identity while being a part of a whole. After you departed, the duty of the Archon was complete. That servant was no longer necessary, and so they returned back to the Archon, where their energy would be reprocessed towards another goal.
Did I ever see them like as a person, or were they just kind of there? Because I can see you as a person now, so it's just a lot to wrap my head around.
You may have, yes. Do you remember any of the servants?
Very. The ones that spoke to me, of course.
She smiled. Then he did his job well.
What do you mean? Was I not supposed to see him?
Our goal was ever to ensure your safety. Ensure that you would not need for anything. That you would not be alone when you thought you were.
Eric, are you doing what I think you're fucking doing?
Yeah?
Motherfucking. So fucking Waylon Ashley was my fucking Archon, wasn't he? Fuck. God damn it. Fucking shit.
And though he can no longer manifest in the form that he took, the love and care that he held for you has returned back to the source.
So, you're telling me that an Archon that I never really got to meet changed out my books and made sure I had art supplies and was just kind of there when I felt really alone. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt alone.
Yes. And ensured that the one time that you almost started a fire in the tower did not spread. Ensured.
You weren't supposed to know about that!
She grins. There's very little that we do not know in regards to the places from which we are granted access.
Connor, did you already... Wait, no, Connor already knew about the fire. Never mind. I didn't tell
I
Piper.
definitely knew about the fire.
Yep.
Piper, please don't think any less of me.
She shrugs and says, I just think this is all pretty rad. I don't think I could... Trust me, if you heard some of the embarrassing stories that Sophia had about me when we was kids, I don't think I'd have much of a time to say much anything. And the Archon actually turns to her and it's a privilege to know that you exist as well. Liliana. And Piper kind of like blinks and almost like flinches for like a quarter of a second upon being called that. she kind of she bows. Thank you. I'll promise I'll try not to be a bother or anything. I shouldn't need any help. My brother and sisters are gonna need you a lot more than I think I will. And she nods and says, and yet, if you have need of us, we serve the Haven Tree bloodline. All of you. And she turns back to Connor and was there aught else you require, Connor?
He shakes his head no. I need nothing else.
Then I should return to the source. Our power dwindles, and I must ensure that we can support you in whatever way we can until this war is complete.
Wait, I have one question.
And she as the edges of her cloak begin to burn up again, almost as if they've caught fire. She looks back towards you.
Connor said that maybe when I go to talk to the church that I should call one of you. Two things. It's actually 2 questions. Who should I call? And can I do it without calling?
She looks to you, serious. You need not say a word. If you desire our presence, need our presence, we will know. Your desires will shape what we can offer you. My presence here has linked you to the source, as much as Connor, as much as Alstramari. Ask, and we shall answer.
Okay. Thank you.
And Connor, she says, as the edge of her cloak is kind of basically caught fire now, and it's kind of spreading across her as her body almost morphs back into this luminous being. Ensure not to neglect your studies. My absence here does not relinquish you from any of your abilities. And she smirks.
Connor just kind of smiles because fuck, what do you say to that?
And as if to prevent you from being able to say anything to that, the flames consume the rest of her as she almost burns up and out, and just as quickly as she had appeared, with a single step forward, her body winks out and vanishes. And as she does, the window gently shuts behind her, though you don't see her moving out of it.
Connor, did that just happen?
Yeah.
Will you please pinch me so that I know?
No.
Piper, please pinch me!
She like actually pinches both herself and you at the same time, kind of blinking a couple of times.
Okay, that was real. That was real. That was real!
I guess it was. I never really knew there was such a thing like flaming creatures like that. How many of those are there?
I don't know if they have a real number, actually.
Yeah, I guess it did kind of sound like that, didn't it?
Well,
Did our family always have flaming butlers and whatnot?
flaming butlers.
No, actually, I don't think that started until after Arlen and Tristan.
Huh. I guess it's kind of comforting knowing that something like that's watching out for you, right? I couldn't help but feel like nothing she was saying was a lie or anything.
Well, I know it couldn't have been. You pinched me and I didn't wake up.
Thanks for telling us about this, Connor.
Well, it's probably a good idea for you guys to know that you have an emergency plan, so to speak.
So, like, emergency magic for the non-magical person? Because that was like magic.
I'm not gonna lie, being able to conjure a flaming woman out of nowhere seems pretty magical to me, Delphine.
Like I said, emergency magic for the non-magical person.
And Piper's going to give you a hug, Connor.
I want her back.
Be safe when you go out on your mission, eh?
Yeah, the plan's to not die or lose any more body parts.
Delphine's gonna hop in on that hug and just make it a 3-person hug. Because I can.
She has big, strong, blacksmithing arms with which to hug her siblings.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's a lot to fucking take in.
Yeah. Also, I'm really glad I found that picture. I finally found like a good reference for how they look when they're not in a fancy form.
Fuck. You would fucking use Senkei's character since he's not actually playing.
Yeah. It fit perfectly.
It did.
There's a good chance that I actually would have done that anyways, actually.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Like that may have been his story arc if
If he had gotten to play.
yeah, if he had gotten to play. Once I developed the Archons, because they didn't exist initially, like when he first gave me the character concept.
Surprise, you don't exist.
Surprise!
Or you exist on a whole different level.
Surprise, you exist literally to help me. Hi, hello.
But yeah. That is the Archons. They're fun.
How the fuck am I gonna finish this paper now?
Always watching over you. You could just ask an Archon to help.
Hey, Kendra, Magister Kendra, come on over here. I need some help.
No,
with the
don't
paper.
ask her to help.
The best part is that like even though they're these strange ethereal beings that are like connected to the island, whenever they kind of whenever like a portion of their power ends up becoming a singular persona, that persona definitely begins to take on quirks and a personality of their own until they're reclaimed. And thus Magister Kendra was born.
Then they
She
die.
actually got upset and she's like, wait a minute, I have quirks?
It's like equally annoying and also endearing. But they very infrequently have any problems like relinquishing that again. But it's interesting. Basically, a safe hypothesis for that would very much be their interaction with humans begins. They begin to subconsciously begin to copy parts of human personalities, for one reason or another, either to try and make themselves more convincing when they're pretending to be humans, or just as a subconscious effort, and it ends up becoming genuine.
Fuck.
And so the distant, snarky personality that Magister was initially a front that became very entrance he was.
Fuck.
Yay!
Just
And-
fuck.
And to be fair, she can have 2 different magic women anytime she wants. One of them is just
I
very
know.
tall and has dreadlocks.
Lucky.
Hey now. You're trying to go after Melody, and she's magic her own
That's
right.
true.
She's got magic fingers that she uses to stab people.
There's
I'm
some
glad.
elements.
That's right.
I came in at the wrong time.
No, you came in at the right time.
No.
You certainly came in at time.